Jimmy? Sonia?
Well, Sonia had just made a roll. Tracking, I believe.
Yes.
Tracking, yeah.
It's an exceptional success. Despite... To Jimmy, it looks like she makes 3 left turns, followed by 2 right turns. Directions are nonsensical. However, within about 5 minutes, you find yourself standing over a yawning abyss.
Only way out is through, I guess.
Well, this is completely new to me. Walking through hell with you?
Let me guess. It's not quite so much of a hell.
Because it's always heaven with us?
Something like that.
And we proceed to walk forward.
I think, is it climbing?
Climbing?
I think it's climbing.
It's falling.
It's falling with style. Go ahead and give me climbing
I
rolls.
assume we were climbing down. Yeah, that's...
If you want. I mean, she did say, and they walk forward, so I mean, it could just be straight falling.
I got you.
Oh, I'm gonna be climbing, if that's all suiting you.
I fall with style.
All right, so if you're going to jump, as it were, I want...
No.
Mourning Frost, I would like you to roll a pool of your weird
How insulting.
plus your contracts of winter plus resolve. And click weird. There you go. Give me that roll.
Wow.
Nice.
So, Jimmy, go ahead and give me your roll for climb. And I think instead of strength, this is going to take a while, so you're going to use stamina here.
Okay. And athletics, I guess.
Yes, athletics. Any contracts that you want to invoke at this time? Probably be a good time.
I mean, I do have my contingency one.
Okay.
So nothing at this exact.
I'll get you.
Oh, one success.
Jimmy begins making an arduous climb down when literally you just see what is essentially a blizzard form. And snowflakes just flitter down. Sonia, or Mourning Frost, I should say. You're going to be the first one that arrives as the first snowflake touches the husk of the hive. And as the snow continues to fall, it like little pieces of you start to reform as you land. As you watch, eventually coming into full form, watching Jimmy still climbing. Still climbing.
Kind of wincing because it's like, I hope he doesn't fall.
You should make like a snowbank below him.
Still climbing.
I think at that height.
And we're going, while we wait for Jimmy to fully descend, we're switching over.
You should have just jumped with me.
Leap of faith.
Ye of little faith.
Kalmir? Leon?
I will thank the goblins for their information. And kind of step away, again pacing the clearing, kind of looking at the this mirror palace.
In the back, you hear the goblin that you were speaking with. All right, boys. Let's pack everything's packed up. Time for us to get out of here. We move now. As the goblins begin to make their way into the hedge.
They seemed kind of impatient to get out.
Why would they stick around? They profited. And besides, I doubt they want to be sitting around this place any longer than they have to.
And what is this place? What is that large structure there?
It's the other side of the mirror.
This is the moment that we realize that changelings and true fae can say things that even make a mage who alters reality go, what the?
I see. And is that our destination?
Could be. I don't know what our destination is yet. If the Fae are dying, well then, I mean, I don't think I've been happier news if it has ever been told to me, honestly. But the bugs are still here, so I still have a problem. If there's something going on in Arcadia, the Huntsmen will probably know what's going on. And if there's a bunch of them now not bound by the true Fae, then they might be a little more negotiable. I have no idea what a unbound huntsman is going to be like. But they congregate around here. And I guess I'm gonna go look for one.
Lead the way.
I'll bravely walk forward, but I'm lying to you if I'm to tell you I know where we're going.
When you say you walk forward, are you heading into the hedge or into the Hall of Mirrors?
I don't like either option, but we're already here, so let's go to the Hall of Mirrors. Allegedly the Huntsmen like this place, So maybe there's one hanging about. I don't know.
As you enter, see exactly what the name implies. Corridors filled with mirrors. As you glance left and right, you see out into the material world, various different locations. See people's bathrooms, ceiling from little hand mirrors that are laying face up. You see bedrooms, see garbage dumps. You also see spectral entities flitting between mirrors. When they flip between mirrors, that's when you look at those mirrors. That's when you see people looking into them. Well, all of them in the ravages of the plague. So, various states of illness, some near death, some newly sick. None of them have a glimmer of hope in their eyes. Or if there is, it's been dampened by the disease.
Just stroll on through, just kind of glancing, at the walls, and place a bit depressing, isn't it? From here, we can see the entire dead world.
This would be an amazing place to explore, if not for the circumstances. Windows to everywhere.
Is there any movement in the distant halls that are not these flickering ghosts? Anything kind of now reacting to us talking, probably echoing down the hall?
Oh, well, you draw the attention of the ephemeral beings. Let's see here.
And are these things harmless?
I'll let.
Yeah.
Mm.
These denizens of the mirrors.
I'll go back to the same question. Are people harmless? You don't know yet.
One thing Leon would be able to pick up on, most of these are not ghosts of people transformed by the hedge. These are ghosts formed by emotion, specifically the emotion of hopelessness, something that is relatively rampant. It doesn't take Leon more than a second to see it, essentially. Kalmir would probably be able to see it as well if he flipped on Death Sight, but until he does so, he would be to this.
Death Sight. Okay.
To see that they're not actual ghosts.
Well, I suppose he would try and look at them. Like these weird things, what do they look like?
They're not, as stated, you wouldn't be able to necessarily tell the emotion, but you'd be able to tell they're more personifications of emotion rather than actual ghosts. And by such, they do start whispering about both of you. Come here. Why? You know it's all for naught. You waste yourself. Settle in for the long haul. There's no point in fighting it. And each word is not said by the same entity. They're literally kind of creating a conflux of energy around you at this point.
I'm gonna keep walking, see if we find anyone else in these holes. Just gonna... There anyone in here that's not anyone in here that's not given up yet? kind of shout down the halls.
As you say that, you do hear something. Metal against glass. Specifically, heavy, hard metal.
Could be anything. I mean,
What it is something physical and not ephemeral.
yes. So, I will head towards that sound. Not like sprinting or anything, but just keeping a steady pace down the halls.
As you round a corner, still being berated, chastised by edge ghosts, you see the familiar stag horns. You see in his hand a beating heart. He turns and kind of nonchalantly looks in your direction.
Well, you still a slave, or are you free now too?
Slave is an unkind term.
Is it a false one?
Yes. If you are inquiring if I still have my master, yes, Mourning Frost is still quite much alive. Bet you weren't expecting to hear that was my master's name now.
Am I not expecting? It's not that odd. She was the traitor in the group.
Traitor, once again, such a harsh term. To my knowledge, she never betrayed you once.
Harsh world we live in. But I'm not reminiscing on the past. I'm here for information. You can give it to me, or I can keep looking. I want to know what's going on in Arcadia. I want to know why the True Fae aren't doing anything. I want to know if there is anyone doing anything. And I want to know why the Huntsmen are free.
A lot of
This is
things
what
you
I'm
want.
looking for. Is it, unusual to want multiple things? I get that it's probably a little out of your boundary. You're not allowed to have your own feelings.
Got a sharp tongue on this one. Looks towards Kalmir, you might need to clip it.
I mean, he's asking the same questions. I might be just a guest here, but I'm as curious as he.
So, nature of the world as it is. What's in it for me? He moves the still beating heart to a pouch on his side. If you want to roll perception checks.
Yes. 2.
You see 3 other still beating hearts inside the satchel that he puts a 4th one in now.
See, that's the problem. As far as I'm aware, you can't want anything.
I speak as a vessel. You aren't entirely incorrect. Technically, any deal you make with me is going through a proxy. Any deal you make with me is technically a deal with Mourning Frost. So you are not incorrect.
And what does Mourning Frost want? Besides Jimmy. I got that already.
Depends on what Leon here is offering. If you haven't been, I'm pretty sure you seem quick enough. There's history here. You still owe me, by the way. New suit, remember?
You're the one that's got it burned off. It's not my problem.
I still have very many questions about that the nature of that deal that allowed you to do so.
Unfortunately, I care not for the opinion of little deer.
So, as a show of good faith, you wanted to know what was going on with the Huntsmen.
I have been told that they are now roaming free with their hearts.
Not inaccurate. Absolutely accurate. Except for maybe in the case of, and then he pats the satchel, these 4. They will be brought in underneath Mourning Frost.
No, I take it. Whoever they were previously under is gone, then.
You are correct. Same. Just moments ago, as it were.
What is below Arcadia?
Oh, come now. You know that answer.
More Arcadia, but
The same thing that's underground, underneath this particular structure. The same thing that was underneath your hollow. Same thing that's underneath the hedge. This world has rotted inside out. Just like the fruit.
so, well, the hives are eating Trufe. Can't say I'm too sorry, but I can't. Idle musings for another time.
However, pauses. There is one little note. Feel like maybe you should know. I haven't divulged this bit of information. Jimmy. Doubt Mourning Frost will. Remember your captor, do you not? You remember how he captured you, he captured Jimmy, he captured Sonia, Francis, Larkspur. Different titles, but same entity.
I remember that we looked into it and he was a bit of an oddity.
Absolutely. It's become much... still exists. However, not as Fae. Something different entirely. when he ascended, descended, I'm not quite sure how you would look at it. That is when I became free and Mourning Frost took my heart. But he is very much still alive.
Holder of the titles they are not, however, I assume, given that you were given freedom.
Stated. Entirely. No need for titles anymore. Found something else to sustain his power.
Dread. How ominous.
Another tremor is felt. That one was mild. Even as far away from Arcadia as we are. Probably some part of the hedge. So, what does that leave the two of you with?
Nothing we can use yet, really.
A lot of thoughts that I don't like, but I'll muse on them for now. We still have some way to go.
And I have to go back and inform Mourning Frost that these are the only hearts I could collect.
Ah, failing, eh?
I would say collecting 4 hearts is not a failure.
Well, then I wouldn't phrase it as only 4.
You know the Fae. They shape the world here. Their desires are made manifest. I'm sure if she had her way, everybody would kneel to her. But that is the nature of the Fae. So,
Seems like the bugs are doing a better job of shaping the world.
now you're starting to see things maybe a bit more clearer. Leon, I still have to pay you back, eventually. But that debt will need to be settled later. At this point that he makes a smirk and reaches down with one hand. The glass shifts and makes room for his hand. As he pulls up that large metal shield with the mirror in the center of it. Before you ask, yes, he is still very much alive. You see the hints of who you once thought was just a new member of the Summer Court. He makes no attempt to exit the glass, the mirrored shield. But you know he is looking directly at you.
Give a mocking bow and can't wait to put another bullet through your head.
But again, as he swings the shield up and around. Another time, another place. Hopefully in the near future. Don't go getting yourself killed, Leon.
I don't listen to you. I have a path in mind, a goal in mind, and if it ends in death, so be it. Better death than slavery, as I tried to tell Jimmy, and he didn't listen to me.
To each their own. You should watch who you follow. I don't know your name. This one has a habit of making deals with things he doesn't understand. Be a shame if he drags you into the cacophony that always causes.
Believe me, I'm quite familiar with making deals with things I don't understand, and being around those that do.
Oh. Match made in heaven, I guess, then.
Poor decisions and deals of my own free will. Something you don't get to choose. Not yet. Maybe whenever our little traitor from our group gets eaten by the bugs, you'll be free.
Anyways, and he taps one of the mirrors. And the mirror shifts. Instead of it being a bathroom or something, you see what looks to be snowfall and ice on what looks to be one of the extending arms of a hive. And he steps through. Leaving Kalmir and Leon alone with the hedge ghosts still swirling about them.
He was rather forthcoming with information with nothing in return.
Sometimes people are generous. In my experience, it's more of a taunt. He's acting friendly. He's just waiting for his command to come kill me.
Well,
we have an insect in the depths of Arcadia that has taken every title from every true Fae. Or held them once.
seems to be making itself into a true Fae.
It already was. It's whatever it is, it's not anymore. Or not a typical one.
And this matter of your former host,
Presumably joined the amalgamation of whatever hive is down there. They're all of the parasites that are crawling around here, they're all the same thing. They merge together. The worms become larger worms, eventually becoming a scorpion locust. You kill the locust, it explodes into worms that then eat each other and become worms again. It's a cycle.
it's actually remarkably similar to, well, a host. The rats do similar, the locusts. These are spiritual creatures on a different plane, but very similar in that regard.
Well, how do they kill those ones?
All of them all at once. That's the reason they're still around, because it is exceedingly difficult to do.
I found fireworks pretty nice for the worms, but again, there's too many of them.
It
How
also
did they
helped.
do it before? Like, I don't think we can just return to the helicopter and ask those wolves.
Well, there's either immolate a large area, hopefully you get all of them. There's also containing them into a smaller area so that they can't escape, dealing with them that way. But if they're spread over so vast an area, you really would only be able to get pockets here and there that way.
I don't know if I can, try to whisper to the whispers in my head.
You want
Does
to
he
talk
know
to
any-
Apollo?
Do you know anything about hosts? Have any input here? I mean, I can put the pieces together, and there were werewolves originally that were dealing with him, and if the werewolves were dealing with these hosts, I don't know. It's a long shot, but that's all I got right now. I'm just
One moment. Get Apollo. I need to look at lore. Lore is a very important thing here. Where are you?
I think in Tui it's in Night Horrors.
Yeah, that's where I'm at. It's just like, where
Or
are
no, it's not in Night Horrors. It's in the pack.
in the pack?
Yeah, because it's one of the lodges.
Weird. Spectrates. Okay, Temple of Apollo. Totem. Okay. I am aware of, and he speaks a language you do not understand. They are remnants of gods that existed long ago.
These gods were killed.
Killed is a
Or
very strong
forgotten,
term.
Or
Not
something does
forgotten.
not become a remnant without something happening to the whole.
They were... One was damaged. One broke itself into pieces to escape. Others... other means. There are... ideas, thoughts, that beings of significant power are able to achieve this relatively easily. It allows them to escape notice should they ever need to. When you hold vast amounts of power, you draw attention. Should you find a way to mute that power, you are less likely to be found.
Well, my current foe does not appear to be trying to hide, so.
Gathering strength. Look at the world. Why would you need to hide if you're the winning faction? Now would be the time to flex. On that note, we're going to return to Jimmy. Anya. Jimmy, you finally made it down. About at the same time, the Huntsman shows up and presents 4 beating hearts to Mourning Frost.
Anything new?
I saw an old friend in the Hall of Mirrors. Goes by the name Leon.
So that's where they ventured off. What are they doing there?
Best I can tell, gathering information.
Anything noteworthy?
Leon's convictions have not wavered. The other being that stands beside him is somewhat along for the ride. He did not speak much, so I did not get much of a read on him. Made some passing threat that he's coming for you, so on and so forth. You know, the typical. Burn everything down, burn the true Fae. You know how Leon is.
Yes, I got that feeling when I came in contact with him originally. This place... Have you been here before? And I obviously look at where we're at.
Not commanded me to, so I have not.
Fair enough.
You look tired, looking over at Jimmy, who just finished his climb.
He decided not to leave.
I'll leave when I'm ready.
Well then.
Okay,
Shall I
cool.
accompany you?
Actually, I want you to keep an eye on Leon and his friend. Don't make your presence known. Just keep an eye on them. I'll call for you if I need you.
There is a subtle nod of the head, and he leaps, disappearing into the sky.
I guess eventually they may end up here. Do you need time to rest?
Time. I'll rest when I'm dead, right?
I'm just sensing that you're angry with me.
Wow. However many years of feeding off emotions, and you're picking that up.
Well, seeing as we may not come out of this, I figure clear things up before that.
It's not about clearing things up. I've got a lot to process. But we made a deal.
I'd like to think that if we could go back and change our decisions. Both you and I would have picked a different path.
Yeah. I think that's inevitable. But let's be honest, we don't belong in that world as much as we don't belong out of it. Such is the way of things. And I've got my whole life to get my head around that. For what it's worth.
We'll move forward then.
And Sonia, for what it's worth, I never stop thinking about you.
And I still love you.
Yeah, I know.
At this point, Mourning Frost fades, replaced with something very similar to your form, Jimmy. Pulsating sounds, etc., but instead of being somewhat clear like sound waves, her form is more that of red, that of blood, and in the center of everything is a heart. You've just witnessed a switch in titles, as Mourning Frost is no more, and she assumes the form of Keeper of the Minstrel's Heart. I think on that note, we're going to call this session here.
You have just finished listening to this week's episode of the Contagion Chronicle, The World Plague, the conclusion to the Domain Gaming's Contagion Anthology, written and told by Wyverian. A special thanks to you, the listener, and if you wish to continue supporting us, subscribe, like, and share. As always, comments are welcomed. Until the next chapter, don't stop asking yourself, what is this plague that invades both body and mind?